What's going on, people? In this video I'll be breaking down the legendary reggae artist Bob Marley's Freeform Dreadlocks. So last time I was at 1976, I was talking about how his dreadlocks, he started with an afro, and by starting with an afro you bypass the ugly face. Bypass, I mean you skip the ugly face in a way, because like I said, the ugly face, you get it when you have small dreadlocks, baby dreadlocks, and they have to grow together in order to form congos. So that's when you hit the ugly face. But if you have an afro and you let your hair be, firstly, and that the best way hair can, let me just tell you the breakdown of how your hair can go from an afro to dreadlocks. You grow an afro, you don't touch it, you don't manipulate it, you just wash it. By washing it, curls are gonna naturally occur because you are rubbing against it. I know I said don't manipulate it, but you need to wash your hair, which I guess is a form of manipulation. So by no manipulation, I mean that you shouldn't twist them yourself to speed up the process or to make them lock up yourself. So no manipulation, but wash your hair. So from an afro, when you wash your hair, manipulating it, it gets curls. Those curls, over time, as you keep washing your hair and leaving it alone, the curls, they lock up. They form locks. And since your hair, you don't touch it, you don't manipulate the root outside of when you're washing it, it's bound to form webs within the root. And those webs are what forms congos. And by that time, you have full-fledged dreadlocks without going through the ugly phase. So by 1976, I said his hair is by his shoulder. The dreadlocks, congos are thicker. There is an afro underneath the hair, which I call new growth. The dreadlocks, they look perfect, literally perfect, bro. Like, I'm not even trying to lie, bro. They look perfect. So by 1976, you can tell that he's not doing extreme things to his hair. And of course, you can never really know what kind of products that he uses for his hair. But it's most likely just washing your hair with soap and just letting it be. I mentioned that his hair was changing color a bit because of sun exposure or whatever. So it continues. 1976, the afro underneath his hair gets even bigger. So he has Freeform dreadlocks and an afro underneath because he doesn't maintain them. So the afro is thick, like really thick, and the dreadlocks look really, really healthy. And the best way to get healthy dreadlocks, bro, is just to wash your hair with soap. And you make sure that when you rinse, you get all the soap out. And another thing is that chemicals. You have to relax with the chemicals, bro. Because I know they're promising you that it's gonna grow faster, it's gonna be shine, it's gonna look more prettier, it's gonna shine. It's helping it with oils, bro. These things, at the end of the day, they're chemicals. Look at my hair. I don't use chemicals besides soap. And I'm talking about hair food, bro. And my hair is healthy. So that's the best. I feel like that's the best way. And that's what Freeform is. As soon as you start now using these chemicals, trying to bypass, trying to rush things, instant gratification, you're gonna have to click and go to another video that's gonna give you these promises, because With Freeform dreadlocks, there is no instant gratification. You have to be patient. You have to just relax and go with the flow of things. Don't go against the current. Like I said in the previous video, Taoism, state of flow. So 1977, the Congos are getting thicker and thicker and thicker. So the reason why the Congos get thicker is because you don't manipulate them, you don't separate them. Like I said, webs of hair form within your scalp and the hair underneath the lock. And that hair, what am I talking about? Oh, I'm talking about the thickness of the lock. Yeah, so when you don't manipulate it and you don't separate it, it's bound to grow together. It's like if I left my hair like this, the locks are bound to get thicker and thicker and thicker. But if you want a specific thickness, you're gonna have to separate them. Here's an example of a lock that could be separated. This here. I don't want to separate it because I want a thick lock. So that's the same thing. That is a Congo. And it formed because I didn't separate the hair. So it depends on what you want, really. If you want your hair to be thick, really thick, you're gonna have to leave it alone and not separate it. And the problem with not separating it is that you could actually have one huge lock and you could have like 4 dreadlocks. And for me, that doesn't look cool. If Bob Marley lived for longer, his hair was gonna end up being at that state. But it was cut short, so we can only judge what we see, what was there. So by 1978, the hair keeps growing longer and longer, and the thickness keeps getting solidified. It's like a vine, it's like a root. It's like roots, bro. It's really powerful. It's really, really powerful. It's a crown. It's a crown. That's why I believe that everybody should have their own natural hair and grow it, because that is your identity, bro. You have to stop wearing these caps and weaves and stuff, hiding your hair. Yeah, so the hair, 1978, it's really long. It reaches the upper shoulder, the upper chest, and the Congos are even thicker now. There are no small locks now. And one thing I noticed is that the afro that I was talking about underneath, it's now formed together with the lock, which makes it even thicker. So this is a beautiful thing if that's what you want. But judging by how it looks on Bob Marley, it looks perfect. So even I would do it. And yeah, like I said, there's nothing that you can do to make your hair be like this. You just let it be. You just flow with the state of things, of how it is. You just let it be. And that's the only way to get it. You can never really go to the salon to get dreadlocks like that. And that's why you are watching this video. Yeah, so his dreadlocks are really beautiful. They are really, really beautiful. How it's covered up here, as you can see, I have dreadlocks in front of my head here. But he has developed a style where the dreadlocks are separated like this, in a way, because they are long, and over time you can actually train them to do that, to form on the side. It can be a problem. In fact, it will be a problem. As they get longer, they're gonna cover my eyes and stuff. So that is a visual problem. It just depends on your style, what you like and stuff. But by 1979, more growth, the locks are even longer and even thicker. And the Congos that had formed earlier are now even bigger Congos, because now, and one thing I noticed is that the Congos, the beautiful thing about the Congos is that they are not just, like I said, one Congo, because he didn't have like a long time to grow the dreadlocks. If he had grown them for 20 years, there would have been just one physical lock here. And a thing that I'm still trying to figure out is how to keep dreadlocks healthy when they are that long. Because dreadlocks they tend to dry up at the tips because the natural oils are generally at the scalp of your hair, so they don't reach the tips of your lock. So I have to figure that out. So by 1980, just more growth, because there's nothing really there to say. It's just more growth. 1981 is when he passed away, according to what media says. And there's a picture which is known as the last picture taken by him, and the picture is really, hey man, I don't even know what to call it. I guess the guy was dying. He doesn't have the dreadlocks anymore. But just by looking at the picture, you can tell that he lost his hair to cancer or whatever he had, and his body is he's skinnier than he was before. So you can tell he was really sick. Cutting your dreadlocks and losing them like that is really kind of sad. But then, what can you do really? There's nothing you can do. Damn, this installment just ended on a sour note, bro. Because looking at this picture is like, fuck. It's like looking at this powerful person. It's like growing up looking at this powerful person. Then at some point you see him on his deathbed and he's skinny and he doesn't even have the dreadlocks anymore. Oh, it's scary, bro. I guess that's the nature of things. The beauty of the ugly. Yeah, let me just end it like that. Peace, bro. Love yourself.